Here in about 40 minutes, write 100 questions from the general pathology. And you have to answer only question. You have to choose only one right answer. As rule, MCQ is not difficult. And the second part, you will receive exam card. This is the example of exam card, which is consisting of four questions of four parts. The first part is theoretical question. Yes. The first question is clinical case. Clinical case of diseases. Second question is clinical case two clinical cases. Third, it's slide. And fourth, it's gross preparation. Of course, if you make presentation, you will be free from slide. Only gross preparation. It's example. And this is the collection of our exam gross preparations. With these preparations, you will work on your exam. Now I'll show you these gross preparations in front. This is the necrosis of tonsils. Necrosis of tonsils. Here you can see tongue, of course, larynx, and tonsils. Tonsils are enlarged, and black color. An example of this gross preparation, you will discuss scarlet fever, because necrosis of tonsils, it is one of the possible complications. Of course, it's very rare, but possible complications of scarlet fever. Of course, what type of necrosis? Morphological form of necrosis is here. What? Brown, green, black color necrosis, and scarlet fever. Cause of the infection, origin of infection, stages, and morphological manifestation of any stage with complications. Next, gross preparation. In this container, you can see part of the liver, gallbladder, and in the cavity of gallbladder, you can see stone. The name of this gross preparation is liver in obstructive jaundice. Why? Because first of all, you can see that the fixator is stained, yes, in yellowish greenish color. Why? Because liver was filled with bile due to difficulties of bile outflow. And cause of these difficulties, stones, obstruction by stones. I think it's not it. Next, gross preparation is very interesting because it contains many organs. First of all, inside this container, you can see lung. Of course, with changes, you can see small cavities, yes, dilated bronchi, extended bronchi, and you can see many grayish color septas, connective tissue septas. Here you can see this is the lung with bronchiectasis and pneumofibrosis. On the side of the container, you can see two organs, liver and spleen. Kidney, of course. Kidney and spleen. They are enlarged and they hard and they white. Yes, in the organs there is secondary amyloidosis. And of course, traditional question, why different organs with different diseases there are in one container? Why? How can we explain it? Because secondary amyloidosis, it is one of the possible complications of chronic obstructive lung disease. Chronic obstructive lung disease is this group of different diseases which includes bronchiectasis, pneumofibrosis, and chronic non-specific inflammatory lung diseases. Next, one of your favorite gross preparations, nutmeg liver. Yes, in this container is liver. How can we describe the liver at the visual inspection? Liver is enlarged, liver had hard consistency, and multicolored at the incision. Yellow with dark red spots. Yellow with dark red spots. Nutmeg liver. And the cause of these changes is chronic venous congestion. Chronic venous congestion. Chronic venous congestion, when chronic venous congestion is possible. Chronic venous congestion, it is morphological manifestation of chronic cardiac failure. Yes, chronic cardiac failure usually caused by atherosclerosis, yes, defective valvular heart diseases, and cor pulmonale, chronic lung diseases. Name gross preparation is not difficult too. In this container is part of intestine. And first of all, you can see that this intestine is black. What is that? Gangrene. It's gangrene. Cause of this gangrene, different changes of blood vessels, especially arteries, and the most often causes of vascular changes is atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis. That's why usually we ask you atherosclerosis, an example of this gross preparation. The next gross preparation. In this container there is kidney. Kidney is enlarged. Kidney is hard at palpation, and kidney has white color. White color. It's amyloidosis of kidney. Amyloidosis of kidney. Please don't forget about the stages of renal amyloidosis, because this process has stages. Latent stage, yes, protein. Azotemic stage, nephrotic stage. So in stages discussed during our practical lessons and lectures. And how we confirm diagnosis of amyloidosis at the histological investigation.
Congruent amyloidosis.
Yes, we have to use specific state, congruent. In the next container there is kidney too, but the process is not amyloidosis. In this container there is kidney. Kidney is enlarged, kidney is soft, and at the incision we can see dark red pyramids and pale gray cortex. Borderline between cortex and pyramids is very, very clear. Yeah? It is acute tubular kidney necrosis, or figurative name of the kidney, shock kidney, because the most often cause of these changes is shock. And acute tubular kidney necrosis occurs in any shock. These contain a kidney too, but kidney is decreased in sizes, yes. No, it's not shrunken kidney. Pay attention on pelvis. Calculi, they are extended, but tissue of kidney is very, very thin, atrophy. The name of this gross preparation is kidney with hydronephrosis and stones, because in pelvis and calculi you can see stones, causes all these changes in the kidney. Can you see it? It's not difficult. Next, gross preparation. In this container there is hot, and you can see multiply hemorrhages in pericardium. Petechial hemorrhages in pericardium. Can you see them? Small dots. Petechial hemorrhages. Causes different, as well shock, DIC syndrome, often associated with this change. In this container, it's hot, but changes there are in pericardium also. Pericardium is thick, not transparent. On its surface there is membrane of fibrinous exudate, grayish color membrane, totally covered by this exudate, and membrane easier attached to the pericardium, disattached, look like hairs on, yes, the first surface of heart. It is, yes, bread and butter heart, figurative name of this heart, but the disease, fibrinous pericarditis. Fibrinous pericarditis. And one of the most often diseases when fibrinous pericarditis is possible is rheumatic fever. Rheumatic fever. But please don't forget, fibrinous pericarditis is possible in uremia. Uremia. In this container there is brain, and changes there are in soft brain membrane and meningia. It is thick, it's semi-transparent, but in the lower part of this gross preparation it's not transparent, and soft brain membrane diffusely infiltrated by viscous grayish color fluid pus. It's purulent meningitis. Purulent meningitis. And on example of this gross preparation, we discussed meningococcal infection. That's why if you will receive this gross preparation, please be ready to answer on the question for meningococcal infection. This container from infectious pathology 2. In this container there is colon, part of colon, and on the surface of colon mucosa you can see a very thick gray color membrane of fibrinous exudate. The membrane of fibrinous exudate is strongly attached to the mucosa, disattached with difficulties. It is fibrinous colitis. Yes, what form of fibrinous inflammation is diphtheroid. And the classic disease when the diphtheroid colitis is possible is Shigella dysentery. Shigella dysentery. Next, gross preparation, hemorrhagic infarction of lung. Hemorrhagic or red infarction of lung. Better to say hemorrhagic infarction. In this container there is lung, and at the incision you can see sphenoidal or triangle form, focus with dark red color. Can you see it?
Yes.
Hemorrhagic infarction of lung. Cause? Thromboembolism of pulmonary artery, especially its small branches. Result of large branches, pulmonary embolism in this container. In this container is pulmonary thromboembolism, but thromboembolism there is in the pulmonary trunk as rope-like gray color formation. Can you see it? As rope. Thromboembolus. Result of pulmonary trunk and large branches, yes, thromboembolism is pulmocoronary reflex. Leads to sudden death usually. It's thromboembolus. But where are usually thrombi, origins of the thromboemboli? Thrombi. Huh?
Veins of the leg.
Veins of large circulation, especially more often in clinical practice, there are thrombi of veins, low extremities. Next serious process 2, it's brain, and the incision in the brain you can see focus of hemorrhage. That's it. Please pay attention. Brain tissue in this focus is destroyed with necrosis. That's why what morphological type of hemorrhage is there in this container? Hematoma. It's hematoma. Brain hematoma. It is example of cerebrovascular diseases. That's why an example of this gross preparation we will ask you cerebrovascular diseases, especially acute form of this process. This is not difficult gross preparation, splenic infarction. In the spleen at the incision you can see sphenoidal or triangle form, white color. Focus. Pale infarction of spleen. Pale infarction, pale or white, better to say pale, all over the world pale infarction. And this small gross preparation, but process is serious. In this container there is kidney. Kidney, yes, kidney is very small. It is hard at the palpation and the kidney has small granular surface. It's primary shrunken kidney. Primary shrunken kidney, it is result of arterial hypertension, essential, yes, primary arterial hypertension. But, for example, in chronic glomerulonephritis, kidney look the same, but the name of this kidney is secondary shrunken kidney. Secondary shrunken kidney. Don't worry, on example of this gross preparation, we will ask you arterial hypertension, not chronic glomerulonephritis. Of course, I can ask you, in what diseases or in what disease kidney can look the same? This container, respiratory, part of respiratory tract, you can see tongue, larynx, trachea, and in larynx and trachea, you can see on the surface of the mucosa, yes, membrane of fibrinous exudate, which is disattached from its surface. It's fibrinous laryngotracheitis. Fibrinous laryngotracheitis. Classic disease is diphtheria. And here you can see one of the possible complications of diphtheria: disattachment of fibrinous exudate membrane and block of respiratory tract by the asphyxia, cause of the patient's death. Next, gross preparation from the cerebrovascular pathology too, but also from atherosclerosis, because here you can see atherosclerosis of cerebral artery. Here you can see blood vessels of Willis circle blood vessels, and pay attention on these arteries. Walls of they are very, very thick, and in the lumen of arteries you can see fibrous plaques. It's atherosclerosis. Arteries are very thick as ropes also, yes. If you remember healthy arteries, they are very, very small, yes. Walls are very thin, semi-transparent, but here something terrible. Atherosclerosis. This gross preparation, you know it, it's Kruppe's lobe pneumonia, yes. In this container there is lung and lower part, lobe is enlarged. Of course, it's hard at the palpation and it has gray color. Gray hepatization. Lobe pneumonia. One of your favorite gross preparations. But in this gross preparation is bronchopneumonia. It's pneumonia too, but you can compare it. If in the case of Kruppe's or lobe pneumonia, you can see diffuse involvement of lung lobe, yes, total inflammation of lung lobe. In case of bronchopneumonia, inside one lobe, you can see only foci of inflammation. Yes, that's why synonym of bronchopneumonia is focal pneumonia. Of course, in severe cases, this foci can take a whole lung lobe, so-called confluent bronchopneumonia. Next, gross preparation, it's chronic heart aneurysm with thrombus inside. This is the heart, and apex wall of the heart in apex is very thin and stick out with the appearance of sac-like formation here. Out, and inside it you can see as patch. It's thrombus, neural thrombus. in this aneurysm often situation. Can you see it? Chronic heart aneurysm, it is one of the morphological manifestations of heart in chronic ischemic heart disease. Is acute heart aneurysm possible? Yes, of course. And what is difference between acute and chronic heart aneurysm? What is the... Huh?
Occurs in MI.
No, sticking out you can see everywhere. But wall of acute heart aneurysm, yes, it is necrotized myocardium with myomylation, but wall of the chronic heart aneurysm, it is connective tissue scar. That's why a chronic heart aneurysm after infarction follows acute heart aneurysm in infarction. When infarction is so-called in progress, yes, with necrosis. And this is the infarction, myocardial infarction. At the incision, you can see pale, white. Focus, can you see it? This is the huge infarction, tragedy. With dark red borderline, yes, with dark red belt. Myocardial infarction and morphological form of infarction in this case, pale infarction with congestive edge. Pale infarction with congestive edge. Here is very, very huge infarction. Widespread and transmural infarction. In this container there is aorta with different changes. But what are the changes? In the aorta you can see fibrous plaques, yellow color strips and spots. Also you can see aneurysm, especially if you look from this area. Thinning and sticking out. Aneurysm. Inside this aneurysm as patch you can see thrombus. All these changes in aorta are classical changes, classic appearances of atherosclerosis. Plaques, spots, yellow color, aneurysm, thrombi, plaques with ulcers on the surface, all possible atherosclerotic changes you can find there in this vessel. And this heart, yes, but of course, without any difficulties, you answer on the question what is it? Heart hypertrophy. Heart hypertrophy. Heart is enlarged. Mass of the heart is increased. Yes, sizes of left ventricle wall. Yes, right ventricle wall are increased too. Causes of heart hypertrophy can be different. Yes, but first of all, it is difficulties of blood flow when heart works stronger. The result is working hypertrophy. This is the heart too, but here you can see mitral valve with very severe changes. On the surface of mitral valve cast, you can see thrombi as patches too, as verrucous on skin. It is acute verrucous endocarditis. Acute verrucous endocarditis. What disease? Rheumatic fever. Of course, rheumatic fever. Acute verrucous endocarditis. Very big thrombus. Very big.
Wow.
On the surface of that. Can you see it? In this container you can see kidney. Kidney is enlarged, kidney is soft, and on its surface there are dark red spots. It's multicolored kidney, big multicolored kidney, and these changes in the kidney are possible in acute glomerulonephritis. Acute glomerulonephritis. I think it's not. Next, gross preparation is kidney. but on the surface, at the incision, but especially on the surface, you can find multiply little foci of purulent inflammation, abscesses, little abscesses. It is purulent, thromboembolic, or just embolic nephritis. Purulent embolic nephritis, and it is manifestation of septicopyemia. Yes, septicopyemia, it is form of sepsis. Septicopyemia. What's the mechanism of this abscess development? It is result of microbe embolism of renal vessels. That's why what we can say about the patient. Somewhere, I don't know where, because I don't know the this case report. There is primary purulent focus from where infection spread all over the body. This is a very, very small piece of lung. It's primary tuberculous complex. Primary tuberculous complex. Example of primary tuberculosis. Complex. Complex means elements. Yes? How many elements are there in the primary? 3 elements. The first one is primary tuberculosis focus. It is small focus of caseous pneumonia. And at the incision you can find it as small round focus of caseous pneumonia. Can you see it? Sometimes difficult to find it, but I think that in this case, in this example, gross preparation is not difficult. Can you see it? Small round as 1 cent. Here. It's primary tuberculosis focus, caseous pneumonia. Around of it, there are small, very, very little whitish colored tubules. Of course, they are not tubules, they are vessels, but they are lymphatic vessels. They are not blood vessels, they are lymphatic vessels with tuberculous inflammation. Tuberculous lymphangitis, the next element. And the third last element of primary tuberculosis focus is tuberculous lymphadenitis, tuberculous inflammation of regional lymphatic node. Of course, it is lymphatic node usually in lung root. That's why you have to look on another side. And here you can see node. It's lymphatic node with caseous necrosis inside. Because tuberculous inflammation usually, can you see it? No. With distraction at the incision, this cottage cheese-like mass on the incision. It's large lymphatic node. Next, gross preparation from tuberculosis. That's it. It's miliary tuberculosis of lung. In the lung, you can see plenty small color, millet-like, yellowish, whitish color. A cereal, yeah? Miliary tuberculosis. At the histological investigation, NV's focus is granuloma, tuberculosis granuloma. Miliary tuberculosis of lung, it is example of changes in hematogenic tuberculosis. Before it was primary tuberculosis, this is the next form of tuberculosis, hematogenic. In the next container, there is hematogenic, example of hematogenic tuberculosis changes too, but they are renal changes. It's cavernous or cavitary tuberculosis of kidney. Can you see? At the incision in kidney, you can see some cavities. How do they appear? How do they appear here? It is result of caseous necrosis and masses of caseous necrosis. Yes, discharge of it, they come out with urine outside. But here you can see these cavities, emptiness cavities. And the last gross preparation from tuberculosis is a fibrous cavitary tuberculosis. This is the lung, And in the lung, there are many serious changes. What are they? First of all, you can see diffuse sclerosis, many connective tissue, gray color, septus. You can see cavern, especially from this side. One, another side, second cavern with capsula, with wall, chronic cavern. And many fossils necrosis. Fibrosis plus tuberculosis changes on the different stages of their evolutions. Caverns, granulomas, pneumonia caseous, there is here, all that is possible. In this container, there is heart with changes of aortic valve. That's it. With changes of aortic valve. Semilunars of our aortic valve are destroyed. There are ulcers inside them, and on the surfaces there are thrombotic masses. Ulcers plus thrombotic masses. What is it? Ulcerative, or better to say thromboulcerative endocarditis. Thromboulcerative endocarditis, it is morphological form of endocarditis in sepsis. It is bacterial or septic or bacterial thromboulcerative endocarditis. This is the favorite gross preparation because it's very rare. It is intestine in typhoid fever. You can see Peyer's patches, and salivary follicles. They are enlarged. They have rough, crinkled surface as surface of brain, yes. And plus, you can see necrotized masses, unstructural masses, and perforation hole inside one of the enlarged Peyer's patch. Can you see that? Yes. Typhoid fever, stage of necrosis, or better than even to say stage of ulcers, better to say, because complication you can see here. Perforation. Can you see how this, yeah? Peyer's one, and this Peyer's patch with perforation. Typhoid fever. So, and the next group of gross preparations from oncology. Let it be the first. In this container there is spleen. At the incision, spleen of course is enlarged.